We now know what the contents of the Hachette Combat Patrol magazines will be from issue 1 all the way through to issue 20. The important thing is, which ones are worth getting? My recommendation for the Combat Patrol is to only get the occasional issue that you want, the ones that suit you. So if you only want the Genestealer Cult models, buckle up and hold on, we have some way to go yet. You can also subscribe to the magazine to make sure you never miss it, and that is how you will continue if your local stockist doesn't do it anymore. Of course, this is all purely window shopping, especially for the people around the world watching Warhammer fans in the UK running around with cheaper Warhammer, but it is good to have a plan. You get to make a document of what to get. For the reveals, there are no big surprises. We knew what was coming. It was the Combat Patrol boxes with an extra unit, as we saw in this image. What we didn't know was the order. The first 20 issues contain the Space Marines and the Tyranid Combat Patrols, plus a bunch of paints. Warhammer has this information on their website, but their website has misleading images. You don't get what is shown on their website. You get the models from the Monopose Combat Patrol, which were the models from the Leviathan box set, the ones in this Hachette Combat Patrol picture. Rather than going in issue order, I will look at the Space Marines and what is worth getting, and then the Tyranids. If I don't mention an issue number, it is because you get paint. Like issue 14 is just 2 paint pots. You may not want to make your models Ultramarines or your Tyranids from High Fleet Leviathan, and £10 is a lot for 2 paints. You would miss out on the little magazine. I have done an unboxing of issue 1 so that you can see what the magazine contains as an example. But I would choose paints from other ranges than what you get in this set. So the Space Marines. Issue 1, which has already been out, if you're able to get it, it is worth getting. £3 for a Terminator, and of course a little playmat, and also the Tyranid Warrior. The Tyranid Warrior Prime with wings that, yeah, the dude, big Captain Flappy Bat. That is worth getting, you probably already have. Issue 3 gave you 5 Infernus Marines for the slightly cheaper price of £7. That is worth it for 5 Marine bodies if nothing else. You could have them as Infernus Marines, they do pretty well in boarding actions and their Overwatch is scary. But if you just want cheap Space Marine bodies, say you have the Deathwatch Veterans box, which comes with enough parts to equip like 3 times the number of models you get in that box, then you could get 2 lots of the Infernus Marines, and now you have 15 Deathwatch Marines. Technically, it is a slight saving. That box has loads of arms, so you could use the big hammers and the frag cannons instead of the Infernus Marines flamers. Issue 5 is a one-off super special unique Marine. Yes, it's unique. It's good if you're a scalper and you want to make money, but for the more decent people who play the hobby for fun and not as some kind of side gig investment, yeah, £10 is cheaper than other Games Workshop characters by half, but it's not what you should be paying for one model. You could use them as a lieutenant with a combi weapon, as you don't get one of them in the Combat Patrol set, but you did in the Leviathan box set, or you could use it as an apothecary. You have a big tilting shield where you could put the apothecary symbol, the canister could represent Gene Seed, and then swap the flamer for a pistol. If you want something very similar, and even if you're not in the UK, you can get this. There is the Getting Started with Warhammer magazine from Games Workshop for £12.50, which comes with another different, unique Infernus Marine and a unique Termagant model. So that is currently available outside of the UK. But if you're not a collector, you may not want to spend $20 on 2 models. So I would skip issue 5. Issue 10 gives you a Librarian in Terminator armor and a paintbrush. It is a single model and it is £10, so it will depend on your collection. With the Rune armor, it suits Space Wolf players who may want a one-off Wolfguard Terminator to add to one of their squads, as their rules currently allow you to do that. Or if you're switching your Deathwatch Terminators over to Imperial Agents and you want a model that looks more Grey Knights, this is it. Maybe you play Grey Knights. This is a suitable looking Grey Knight style model. It has the Stormbolter on the wrist. They are available separately at the moment from Games Workshop for £25 for one, so it is cheaper, but I still think it's a lot to pay for a single model. And if you wanted lots of Terminator models, you would be better seeing if you could get lots of issue 1 of the Terminator Captain. Depends how much you can stand things being monopose and how good you are at converting models. On that thought, issues 12 and then 13 gives you the parts between them for the 5 monopose Terminators. It's split over the 2 issues, so you need to make sure you get both to have the complete unit of 5. That is £20 over the 2 issues for 5 models. And it is the monopose set, so you only get the assault cannon, no heavy flamer, which is great in boarding actions, no cyclone missile launcher, which is best like elsewhere, and you get no chain fist as an option. The sergeant in the rules currently can have a power fist or a chain fist, but the monopose set only comes with the slightly worse power sword. So you don't get the things that you can see on the Warhammer website right now. It is the monopose set. This is half price compared to other Terminators, which are sold for £40 for 5. So it's a maybe, but if you want lots of customizable Terminators, the 30k Cataphractii Terminator squad is 10 models for £57 from Games Workshop. 5 of them could be built as assault Terminators with lightning claws. You have the option for chain fists, but the only special weapon available is the heavy flamer option. But that's a good alternative to keep in mind. Issue 20 completes the Space Marine Combat Patrol with the add-on Chaplain on a bike. It's a little bit of an odd choice since none of the other units in that Combat Patrol set are on bikes, so he would have no one to lead. But if you separately had some bikes, you'll know that they're kind of underperforming. But it's a model you could get. And £10 is cheaper than the £34 that Games Workshop expect you to pay for this model separately. That's kind of absurd. But we'll look at the Tyranids now. So issue 1 is very much a yes. For the £3, you're getting an alpha character warrior thing, and if you wanted to have lots of Tyranid warriors, this is a cheaper way of saying, yeah, that Tyranid warrior with wings, ignore the wings, it's a Tyranid warrior with melee weapons. If they bring back Tyranid Shrikes, which hopefully they will, then you have all of the models you need before Games Workshop releases those rules, probably releases a big box set which is loads of money, but comes with a first chance to get those Shrike models, and then like 3 or 4 months later, they'll be available separately. Well, you will already have Tyranid Shrikes. Issue 2 is 3 Von Ryan's Leapers for £7. That is a decent price. And if you wanted, you could run them as Lictors. They are roughly similar in size. So I recommend issue number 2. Issue number 6 is the next one for Tyranids, which comes with 5 Barb Gaunts. That is £10, but Barb Gaunts are very good. That is a decent price to pay. You could try and use them as Biovores, but then they are quite different in terms of scale of model. Barb Gaunts alone are good, and it's £10 for something that is otherwise from Games Workshop £28. These are a decent price. I would get 2 sets. But then we get to the more unfortunate parts of the Tyranid Combat Patrol. Issues 7 and 8, between the 2 issues, you get 10 Termagants and a Ripper Swarm. It is the monopose Leviathan set, so you don't get any of the phallic special weapons. Issues 17 and 18 are identical. So if you wanted 20 Termagants with flesh borers and no special weapons, you could just get an extra copy of issue 7 and issue 8 so that you could have them sooner. Or from Games Workshop, £28, as in £8 more than you would be paying for the 10 Termagants with flesh borers. You get 10 Termagants with the special weapons and you still get the Ripper Swarm. Remember that through my affiliate links in the description, you can get all of these Warhammer models cheaper than going through Games Workshop and support my channel in the process. Firestorm Games is the relevant one here for UK people who currently have the choice of getting the Combat Patrol right now. The 10 Termagants with the special weapons and the Ripper Swarm is £24.64 from them. So unless you wanted to try mixing in some Barb Gaunts into the Termagants and have the Barb Gaunts painted different colours to represent the 3 different kinds of guns, which is an option, I would just buy the actual Termagant box through the affiliate. Issue 15 is the Psychophage. It is $9.99 for the Combat Patrol or £37 from Games Workshop. You can see how that £34 for a guy on a bike just doesn't seem to match up when you can get a monster. And this is the same model as you get from Games Workshop in this Combat Patrol. Same model, same pose, everything. It is the easy choice of yes, Tyranid players should get the Psychophage. At least one. It's a great monster for the scale of game I like to play, and it comes in at just under 100 points. So it is worth getting more than one if you can. I have seen people split it in half and have the head and the big bottom coming out of the ground on separate bases to represent different monsters like the Morlock. The face looks very similar. It just depends if you care about representing equivalent model size. And finally there is the Parasite of Mortrex. It is not an epic hero despite what everyone, including me, thinks. So you can have more than one. If you like the look of it, you could get one. It's why you have Rippers, because its special ability is to infect people with Ripper swarms and then, like in the Alien films, bursting forth with lots of Rippers. So if you weren't fielding the Rippers alone as an annoyance, or to complete some secondary objectives like table quarters, which is something they can do even if they have objective control 0, they are still units in a place, that's what you can use the Rippers for. Or if you missed issue 1 and you want a Tyranid warrior prime with wings to go with your gargoyles, this model looks more suitable to be leading them. This is a decent place to start collecting some Tyranids once you know what you're doing with the termagants. Or you could just have monsters and add them to a Genestealer cult army. And this is how you can do it. My darlings and viewers, have a great day of 40k!